Hi there, in this video we are going to show whether lines are parallel or perpendicular. Then we will write the equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So to start off, we're going to talk about parallel lines. We should know that they are just lines that never touch. They stay the same distance apart always. The new information is that this means they have the exact same gradient. To show that two equations of lines are parallel, we need to compare their gradients. So we need both equations to be in the form of y equals mx plus c. So we will rearrange that second one. And once we do that, we get y equals 2x minus 6. So both equations have a gradient of 2, so they are parallel. All right, on this slide, we are looking at finding an equation for a line that's parallel to y equals 3x plus 4 that also passes through the point 0, 9. So we're told that we're looking for a parallel one, which means our gradient is going to be the same, so it's 3. So far we're at y equals 3x plus c. The c value comes from our y-intercept, which is where x equals 0. Now we're given the point where x is 0 and y is 9. So that means our y-intercept is just 9. So that means our final answer is y equals 3x plus 9. Alrighty, now let's move on to perpendicular lines. So as just a quick revision, perpendicular lines are formed at a right angle or 90 degrees. So it can kind of look like a T or a cross. The way to show that two lines are perpendicular is to show that when you multiply their gradients together, it becomes -1. Now we're going to look at showing that two lines are perpendicular. So again, to do that, we need to multiply the gradients together. So we've got 2 times -1/2, which equals a -1. Because they equal -1, it means the two lines are perpendicular. Now we're going to look at finding the gradient of lines perpendicular. So first we're going to find one that's perpendicular to y equals 3x plus 4. I'm just looking for the gradient, nothing more than that. So we need to find what multiplies to 3 to make -1. So we've got 3 times something is going to give us -1. To figure out what that something is, we'll divide by 3 on both sides. So that means our gradient is now going to be -1 over 3. You might actually notice there is a quick way to do this. You can just simply find the negative reciprocal. What that means is to say, well, the reciprocal of 3 is just 1/3, and then find the opposite sign of it. So it becomes -1/3. Let's go through one more example. So now we're going to find the gradient of a line perpendicular to y equals 5/4 x plus 6. So again, we're looking to find what do we multiply to 5/4 to make -1. So we've got 5/4 times something gives us -1. We need to divide by 5/4. Just a reminder, to divide by a fraction, you just simply multiply by the reciprocal. So it's multiplying by 4/5. So that means our gradient of the line perpendicular to our given one is -4/5. All right, last example of this video, we're looking to find the equation of a line that's perpendicular to y equals 2x minus 9 that also passes through the point 0, 3. So to start, we need to actually find our gradient. So we've got 2 times something will give us -1, so it means our gradient is -1/2. Next, we need to find our y-intercept. Remember, this is when x equals 0, and we're given the point where x is 0, so it means we have a y-intercept of 3. Just substitute that in, and we end up with y equals -1/2 x plus 3. In this next example, we're going to write an equation for a line perpendicular to the line y equals -5x minus 9 that also passes through the point 15, 4. So again, we need to first find the gradient, which is figure out what multiplies to -5 to get -1. And in this case, it's going to be 1/5. Now we know that we have the equation of y equals -1/5 x plus c. We don't know what that plus c is. We need to actually figure that out. Unlike the last example,
our point isn't at the y-intercept because our x isn't 0, so we need to use it to find out the y-intercept. We are going to substitute the 15 in for the x value and the 4 in for the y value, and then it's just a matter of solving the equation for c. So negative 1/5 times 15 is just negative 3. We will add that to both sides to get that 7 is our c value, and then it's just a matter of substituting it in and get y equals negative 1/5 x plus 7.
All right, we've made it till the end of this video. If you do have any questions as you're working on your worksheet for the day, then please do contact me through a comment on Show My Homework, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.